Call to order the Saugatuck City Council meeting for November 25th, 2024. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Anderson,
Here.
Clark,
Here.
Dean,
Here.
Gardner,
Here.
Muncy,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Stanton.
Here. Great. Some quick mayor comments. Most important, welcome, Chris, and welcome back. It's great to have you here. Look forward to working with you. As I think April reached out to everybody, the annual Christmas tree lighting is Friday at 7, and all of council is invited to go and participate in that. I sadly will be out of town, but we'll be with you in spirit, so to speak. City looks beautiful with lights. This is the best time here, I think.
Special.
And also just a shout out to the middle school and elementary school for being recognized by US News and World Report top 3 of schools in the state, which is pretty awesome. A great source of pride. So that's it for me. Ryan?
Well, thank you, Mayor, and wasn't at your last meeting, so it's an opportunity for me to congratulate you in your selection as mayor, and Councilmember Peterson, welcome to the council, or welcome back, as was said tonight. I watched your last meeting video back, and I was just so proud to hear all of the comments that you all had to make about our staff team and our public works and our clerks team and all of our team members and the work that they do, and really appreciate your recognition of them. And I'm glad to be back today. I had a good couple of weeks off on an adventure in India and Nepal, and it was very refreshing, always enlightening. I always learn a lot from travels and traveling to foreign countries and seeing how other folks live and the experiences that they have and what they're doing well and the challenges that they have, and always puts things into perspective. And we're very, very fortunate to have what we have here. So but glad to be back. So my report, our staff kind of did a little bit of a repeat of my last report. So thank you to them. Just a bit of a highlight. Each year historically, you've had meetings where you've reviewed, one conducted a survey and kind of discussed some survey results on what the community would like you to focus on in the next fiscal year. And then you would hold a strategic planning meeting where you would kind of set some priorities for the year for staff to work on tackling. So obviously we have me as a new manager, we have some different council members that have changed over time. So my intention next week at your workshop meeting is to have an agenda item where you would kind of discuss, what that process looks like going forward. It'll be good with the current process. Do we want to change it a bit? Different facilitator, something similar? Do we want the same survey questions if we're going to do a survey? Do we want survey questions to be different, or do we want something that's more in depth? So I just kind of wanted to highlight that and put that on your radar. Otherwise, when it comes time for staff reports, I'm happy to answer any questions. And last but not least, a huge thank you to Scott Herbert for covering my duties while I was gone. I've received a lot of kudos for his work and handling the things the way that he did, and he was also very complimentary of the staff support as well. So thank you.
Great. Nice to have you back.
Thank you.
Any agenda changes? Okay. Any guest speakers? Nope. So yes, can we add him as a guest speaker? I'm good.
You just need to make that agenda change.
Okay.
Mayor.
Okay, so we will add our new Allegan County Commissioner to our agenda.
So I can,
Motion?
yeah, I
Sorry.
can move to add our new Allegan County Commissioner as a guest speaker for this evening.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you. I just would like to say congratulations to all newly elected or re-elected city council members. And I just wanted to stop in at your new council meeting as a new group, just to say hi as an officially duly elected commissioner. Give a little update. We met last week and we starting to change things up for next year. So if you don't know, we'll have myself and somebody else. So it'll be two new two new commissioners out of 5 next year after January. So, and we'll also be losing Jim Story, who was the current commissioner chairman. So we'll have new leadership and a new vice chairman. So things are going to be a little bit different next year than they are now. So bear with us. And I don't know how that's going to look until we do our elections and organizational meeting. But anyway, I just wanted to stop in and say that in the future, I think you guys have my number, but if anything you need, feel free to call, text, email, and I will try to get an answer or a correspondence back as soon as possible. Based on all the meeting schedules I have, I don't know how often Dean was at your meeting, but it works out best to be at the second meeting of the month that you guys have, because there are other meetings the other Monday. But anyway, so that will be my plan in the future to tentatively to be on that schedule. So, but if there's anything in the meantime between, don't hesitate to ask. Or remember, I work for you, so if you need something, let me know. So thank you.
Brad.
So much.
That brings us to the first public comment period. This is for comments on agenda items only.
Hello, council. Let me officially say congrats to Scott, Lauren, and Gregory on being reelected, and congratulations and thank you for being willing to come back to council. And also congratulations to Holly, I know, for being selected as mayor. We're going to miss you on the planning commission, but we're very fortunate that we'll have the continuation with Joe Clark being our council rep on the planning commission. The topic I was going to be up here just real quickly to tell you about is on 9C, which is the appointment of a commissioner. We had the good fortune on the planning commission, unlike some of our commissions in town, we had 5 applications in total that came through to Luke. Luke had reached out to all 5 of them, 2 of which had just said they wanted to pass because they had new appointments and responsibilities that came up in their lives. So we ended up having 3 people that we interviewed. All 3 of them are in your packet. We had Julie McGuire, Chris, and then the one that we recommended was Austin. And I just want to kind of walk you through that because one of the things I think is really unique, it was when I looked at it, was that all 3 showed up very, very qualified, and we'd be happy to have any of them kind of representing us and working with you on council. But the one that we are recommending, first off, was unanimous, and that was Austin. It's in your kit. And I think when you take a look at the resume that's inside of your kit, you'll see that he's got all the qualifications behind it. But it was something that when we looked at it, we thought, how do we want to develop the planning commission? You really want to try to have it represent the community, and you want to try to have it kind of reflect different members of the community. And one of the things I thought that Austin kind of brought that the other 2 didn't, and again, very qualified individuals, but was kind of like this youth. You know, he's got the law background. He's working for the Supreme Court, one of the justices, and he has a very good understanding of what the role of the planning commission. But one of the things that kind of struck me, and I just wanted to kind of share with you, was that during the interview, we were asking each of them, you know, what they thought the role was or why they wanted to be part of it. And one of the things that Austin had said was that he wanted to be part of it because he's looking out for the next 30 to 40 years for the city of Saugatuck, because he plans to be here and raising his family. Now, many of us talk about the last 30 or 40 years that we've been part of it. And we probably would be blessed if we could have another 40 years. But I thought that was just really unique and kind of resonated as far as diversity would go. And so that's why I led my recommendation to the mayor, you know, for Austin. And also, I think we have the master plan coming up, and having somebody with that kind of an outlook who participate, I think will be very positive. And as Holly will probably tell you when it comes up, it was unanimous before Holly spoke. Luke, who's director of planning, also gave his opinion, and then I gave mine, and we were all, and then Holly shared hers, and it was consistent. All 3 of us unanimously thought he would be the best for the role. And so I know it's a consent agenda tonight, but I just wanted to give you that background, that we are looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to working with council. And then lastly, for anybody who is listening, we did have to change our November meeting due to some scheduling with not only city staff, but a few people on the commission. So our meeting is Monday, December 2nd, this coming Monday at 6:30. We did change our meetings to where they now coincide the same as council, beginning at 6:30. So look forward to seeing anybody who wants to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else in the room? Anyone online want to speak? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Motion?
I'll motion to approve our consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's roll call vote.
Madam Mayor,
Oh.
I have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
please. Thank
Sorry,
you.
yep.
Couple of things. One is we had previously requested, the council, I believe, had agreed that any board and commission appointments to not be included on the consent agendas when we have not had a chance to discuss them in a workshop. So I just point that out. That's not going to stand in the way of me approving this evening,
Right.
but that had been requested previously. Also too, in regards to that, I'd also like to see if the city, I'd like the city to have a list of all applicants and the particular boards and commissions they've expressed interest in that can be made available to us. So if we ever have a question about who's applied for any boards or commissions, that's, I believe, public information. That would be something I'd love to have be available to us and to anybody that may ask.
So the rationale for putting the, skipping the normal workshop, the first, especially for planning, was just time. We missed the November meeting and wanted to get a meeting in. And so that was the rationale. But I hear you, and we gave that thought, Russ. So thanks for bringing that up. Anything else? Any other comments? All right.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
I'd have to abstain because I wasn't here for the regular meeting minutes, November 12th, 2024, that is part of the consent agenda. So don't I have to abstain because of that? I can't vote yes to that, so. Because it's part of the consent agenda and it's something that I really can't vote yes on. That's why that's how I felt earlier, that I thought I'd have to answer.
So I think unless you have a reason to believe that there's a error in those minutes, you can still approve them. Even
I
though you
don't, no,
weren't
I don't believe that. I
present.
wouldn't know because I wasn't here, so.
Yeah, so I think my position would be that unless you have a basis to not approve those minutes, that you could vote in favor of approving.
I can still vote in favor of the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Because that
change-
includes all of the other items too, which you are voting on, right?
Okay, then I'll change my vote to a yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thanks. Moving on to staff reports.
Yeah, nothing particular to, well, maybe one thing in particular to highlight. I know there was a mention of the beautiful holiday lights that are throughout downtown. I know there were some strands that were out when I was coming in this morning. I know our DPW crews were working to fix some of the plugs that I guess had some water was getting into them. And so that's something that we may need some longer term replacements. So they were going through each one of those to try to make a fix before we had to do something else for the rest of the season to see if they can get us through. But we're working on that. So I just wanted to highlight that. Otherwise, happy to answer any questions, or if there's anything I can't answer,
Great.
bring it to a staff member.
I will say, I noticed the 300 lights are back on, the black 300. Those had been. out
Okay,
for
those 3
about 2
blocks.
weeks.
Okay.
I noticed earlier they were on, so
Perfect.
I think we got some of it back.
All right, good. Like I said, that was the first thing I noticed today as I was driving in. So
Those merchants were complaining to me for the last 2 weeks about it, and I know we received several phone calls from the city during it.
good. Okay. I'm glad. Good. I'm glad they're back on.
And the only other thing I want to say is we've heard for a few years now that the Water Street merchants would love to see some more lights on Water Street. And if that's something that we can make happen for the next year's budget, I know the Convention and Visitors Bureau said, hey, talk to us about that. We would love to help contribute to that. So, maybe not able to do it this year, but for sure next year, if we can find a way to light up Water Street a little bit better for some of those merchants, I think that would be a great idea.
Agree. They've been asking for lights for quite a while
Yeah.
now, so we should do something about that.
For sure.
No, that's good feedback and timely being at the end of that 3-year agreement. And we also had a business owner reach out on Griffith that would like to kind of see some more in that area with some of the newer businesses we have down there. So make a note.
Dan, you have a fire district report? Right, Mr. Fox? That's where I'm sorry, did we have anything? I'm sorry. I skipped. Anything from the treasurer or clerk or any of planning, zoning?
Nothing in particular that I'm aware of, unless you guys have questions to bring back to them.
Any questions on the other staff reports from anyone? It's nice to have those in the packet. And now we'll move on
Madam
to
Mayor?
boards and commissions. Dan, sorry to make
Go
you
ahead,
get up
Chris.
and down.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
I think that the reports that have been included are wonderful. I did have a question on page 39 on the open casework.
Mhm.
Is it possible to put the dates in there? I noticed there were two that said the next meeting is November 7th and then scheduled for October 16th. Is there any way to, I know it's open casework, but at least know where we're at on those or if some action has already happened? On page 39. So he said that this is his open casework with all of the things he's working on. If you go down to 246 Butler,
Mhm.
explain to applicant the next meeting is November 7th, which had already passed when this came out. So it's just a way, if there's like a column to say open or with a date, so we know how long these are hanging out there.
Yeah, we can discuss that, see if there's some additional context that we can provide or detail to
Perfect.
where you would see there was some sort of progress or something since the last report, perhaps. Yep.
And then they received the notice of violation on 550 Dune Grass Circle. It said enforcement. When you have enforcement listed here, what does that actually mean? Does someone go out and file a citation and?
Right. So it can mean a variety of things. It can mean that we received, enforcement is a broad category. Maybe we received the complaints, maybe we received some, in this case, it looks like there was some information from Eagle that there was a potential issue. And I know I discussed that one in particular with Luke, and it also relates to some zoning matters too. And a previous special land use approval that's in place for that area related to vegetation. So it could be a broader category of a complaint. It could be actual action that we took where there was a letter that was sent, or it could be something that we, actually took action on via civil infraction notice or something further than that.
So, but for the most part, it's staff that does this, not police.
Correct. So none of these that are in this is just Luke Thompson's report as the Director of Planning and Zoning. So anything that would fall on his desk. So typically planning and zoning, anything that's sheriff's office related would be reported separately. Yep.
Thank you.
Other questions? No. All right, Dan, third time's a charm.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Dan Fox, Council Representative to the Township Fire Board. As I said last time, one of the small perks of the job is I get to pick the picture we share. And last time it was Kyle. This time I'm not sure who it is, but I picked it because sure enough, the end of this week, we get calls the end of this week, the guys are going to end up looking like that. So a reminder of what these guys do. I get we have the app that lets us know as a call comes in, and I can't tell you how many times, and I leave it live all night long. 2 a.m., 3 a.m. it goes off and you're thinking, oh my God, those are guys over there getting downstairs to get in trucks to go hither and yeah. Anyway, so October. So anyway, it starts off with the dashboard, the incidents this is for the month of October. The yellow arrows just aim as much for me as for you to highlight what I think are the key points on there. Increase in calls, that continues a trend that's been going on. We'll talk a bit more about. Call response time, this for the fire district, again, separate of the ambulance service, dropped from last month where it was over 7 minutes. Now it's down closer to the average time. Going around to the bottom there, the types of calls. Again, 44 calls, EMS calls, everything from usually number one thing, I can show you the list. Falls where they need help getting somebody back on their feet. That continues to be by far the number one call, emergency call to the fire district. And then there's just really for your edification, that last one, it lists the percentage of calls by the three jurisdictions within the fire district. So what is it? Saugatuck City, is it 23% of them? Douglas at 31%, and the remainder, whatever that is, 46% in the township. The next one, Jamie. Here, again, the response times per month for the past, whatever it is, 3 years there. Most current years on top, on the bar chart on top. And you can see that the times vary a bit. The biggest predictor of the variation is where the calls fall, geographically where they fall, because it obviously takes a great deal more time to get to the south side of, or southeast corner of the district as it does to come here, for example. But anyway, a reasonable trend, and in fact, I think a commendable trend on response times. Next one, Jay. And here, sort of more color, forget the double entendre there, on the record number of calls by month that we're receiving. The green highlights there are all-time records on that data set back to 2014. And the current year has clearly a great number of those, so it's busy over there. Next one. Here's that. It's probably too small to read, but you'll get the idea. This report categorizes all of the EMT calls by the nature of the request. And the chart on the right is simply the same data as the graph on the left. But again, falls, almost 16% of calls just for falls, and then all the way down to heat and cold exposure at 0.32% and so forth. Gives you an idea of how they're staying busy. Next one, Jamie. These are now the times for life for the ambulance service, contracted ambulance service. As I mentioned last time, that ambulance is now, I think, whatever it is, and I should commit it to memory, and I haven't, like 8 hours a day, most days, not all days. It's situated at the fire district until after midnight. I've seen it there regular time. Part of their deal, part of what the way that firm is managed, there are two attendants in there inside, and they're in that truck, period. That's where they stay, when they sit there. If there's no calls for 8 hours, you sit in the truck with the truck running and you're ready to go. So, but anyway, there are the calls broken out by the four actually, because they break out Saugatuck North and Saugatuck South calls. I believe Saugatuck South includes the other side of the lake, river, whatever. So there's a little longer there. And you can see, the arrival times on the bottom there for averages for the district. The set of 4 bars on the left-hand side, those are the historic numbers from the prior contracted firm AMR. So while it isn't, I mean, we had hoped, it wasn't mandated, but we had hoped to better those numbers. And so far that's been the case, and dramatically so in some cases. Township South probably gains there because there is also on a separate contractual arrangement. There's an ambulance at Fenville, stationed at Fenville, that Fenville pays for. Separate deal. Next one, please. And here, repeating from not the same data, but the same kind of a chart, just to give you an idea where the calls have taken place in Saugatuck. I didn't shrink the map and don't intend to shrink the map so much that you can't see those couple of calls out in the eastern, out east in the township, but the bulk of those calls are within the city. And the priorities, the red priorities, obviously the most serious of the cases. Next one, Jim. Thought you'd be interested in this. It's I think a wonderful chart, and we're really quite pleased with it. As you know, the fire district bills people, entities from outside the district that use our resources. And that can be things like car accidents, the car accident in Douglas that hit the light pole and went into the lake, the truck went into the lake. Car accidents of one kind or another, truck accidents out on the highway. So we bill for those. There's the list. The green ones, highlighted green ones, are the ones that have been resolved so far. And we never resolve them all. I mean, some people just stiff you. You get a trucking company someplace in Louisiana and they just say, we're not paying, sue us or whatever. And there's only so far you can go with these things when it's not your business. But the number down there highlighted with the little arrow is the 69, basically 69% of what's been billed we've gotten. That's whatever the number is, $31,000. Those are, that's taxpayer rebate. That's a rebate to the taxpayers of the district. It's a really important financial deal to the district. Next one, please. So just a few other updates to let you know from our last board meeting. The board approved the collective bargaining agreement with the union that concerns 8 full-time employees of the fire district. That's being reviewed by a legal counsel right now. More to come on that, but looks like it's about done. Parade security costs, just a heads up. I think I mentioned this last time. It'll come to you guys at some point in some way, or maybe just direct to the city manager. But we're going to set a basic level of support for parade events in terms of security. That involves personnel, blocking vehicles and equipment, and so forth. Basically targeted at securing the area from this corner to whatever down by the post office, that area. Parades that go beyond that require a good deal more resources, sometimes by a factor of 2, even 3. In those cases, assuming the city approves them, we will, and needs our resources and can't accomplish it with DPW or wherever else, the additional cost will be passed to the city, which only mirrors what you guys, the way you guys operate now with the sheriff's department. When they bring extra resources in those circumstances, you get billed for them. And then finally, the TMA truck, may be the last time I bring it up, is not only in the firehouse, but if you go to the next one, Jamie, that's the traffic management truck, attenuator truck. It's been employed for its first time there in the blue photograph on 21st November on a car fire down near mile marker 34 on the southbound side of 196. And as you can see, the attenuator, the part that sticks out from the back there with the black and yellow stripes on it, is in place, as are the cones. And the guys have been training on it already and learning how to use it and how to emplace the cones from the truck and get them back on the truck at the end safely and so forth. So anyway, first time out went very well. And again, I put up there that quote, this was in this Firehouse magazine, but it basically reiterated something Greg Janik has said more than once, that operating on any roadway the greatest risk you have as a firefighter. And that truck up there, that's a couple of years ago, I think, but that's the kind of damage. I think someone was seriously injured in that incident. Either somebody texting or drunk hit the fire truck, which was in the blocking position that the TMA truck is in here. That, obviously, it's bad news for somebody who gets injured. It's also bad news for the fire district or the fire department because those trucks are extremely expensive and getting more expensive. What you and I think of as a fire engine is approaching $1 million now. And plus then you got it out of service. It's $1 million and you're lucky to get it in a year if you order it today. So it causes a bunch of difficulties. So anyway, and I should also point out, because I don't think I pointed it out last time, the TMA truck was acquired with, and it's, I think, a $211,000 truck. It was acquired with 85% donations from the public. No cost to the taxpayers for that 85%. And I don't want to say who, because they're going to get their names on the side of that truck and we want to make a deal of that. And I don't want to preempt any good vibes from that deal. So, and that's it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions for Dan? Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan. Gregory, Interurban Board.
October ridership has increased. It's was up, let's see, 11.82%. And we had, so it's just going up. You know, we've been doing really well with our ridership. Halloween, we carried 1,165 riders for free. It was an increase of 140 passengers over the prior year. And so yeah, ridership is up. Becky's doing just a great job as our new director. We wanted to mention that we're using the new e-pads, have transferred to new e-pads to all of our buses, which enable bus drivers to text our riders to let them know, hey, I'm running late, or they can also text each other, drivers on the road as well, and they are singing praises over them. We just started these pad. We had a different kind of a pad that they were using before last, but it's been about a year or two now, and it was quite a transition for us to go digital. And so it was quite a learning curve. But all of the drivers just love the new e-pads. They're wonderful to use. And they can have a few kinks to work out, but they're doing great. Becky also has enrolled us into a service that, so that we're compliant and able to use credit card transactions. So I think we're moving towards that on our buses, and that you'll be able to use them when you come into the office and buy passes as well. So things are running really well. Our budget is up this year by about 23%. We just passed our budget not long ago. Just to let you know, our 2024 budget, I believe I always provide a copy of that to the clerk when we do that. Is $1,200,000 in revenues, and we expect about $1,225,000 in expenses this year. And we just approved that back in October, our budget for the year. It's up about 23%. That's because we're using more buses. We're busier, and of course, for that reason, almost mainly. Also, wanted to let everybody know that along with our ridership and all that, that Van Buren Public Transit has requested to organize a day where we'll have like a two-way Tuesday event like we do for Holland, but this will go to South Haven, and we'll meet in Glen, and then they'll transfer the riders to either Meijer or Walmart, and then returning to Glen, and then we'll go pick them up. So we still have to work with our master agreement with Allegan County to make sure that that's okay. But we believe we might be reaching out to South Haven for 2025, which is kind of
Great.
exciting.
Yeah,
And that's about it.
great. Questions for Gregory? Okay, Cal Lake.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for
Mark.
having me. First of all, welcome to Joe, to Holly, to Lauren for her new position, and Chris for coming back on the council. I'll just do a blanket thank you. And sitting in those chairs for many, many years, I realize the time commitment and also some of the controversies you occasionally get embroiled in. So I just want to say I appreciate your efforts. And Joe, welcome. I don't know, 6, 8 years I've been suggesting for a long time to get you involved. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you. We had a pretty full agenda at our council meet or our committee meeting a week ago. I'll try to summarize it best I can. This was the first year that we were required to participate in a EPA DMR QA study 44. All the regulatory bodies are always throwing new wrinkles at the wastewater and water systems. And Daryl informed us that in our first year, we achieved, the Cal Lake achieved 100% acceptability results under the required parameters in the study for the first go around. So he was real proud of his staff to accomplish that. We went 50-50 for our grant applications with Eagle. We were again awarded the 2025 Wellhead Protection Grant Program. The grant qualified activities include things like future well site research, delineation of the groundwater supply for the current wellhead or the well sources, along with wellhead protection ordinances required by Eagle. So on the other side, we did not earn a Clean Water State Revolving Fund grant. It was not a surprise to our manager. They're very hotly contested, a lot of competition. And so we just kind of like the grants that I'm sure Ryan will be putting in, you just keep putting your name in and hope to get one someday. I think the last time I was here, I mentioned that we had the 1 million gallon reservoir tank that sits on top of Mount Ballhead, inspected by a remote control drone, underwater drone. We should get the results of that in 4 to 6 weeks. We're not anticipating any problems, which should tide us over to the next inspection method in 2029 to 2031, which would include the traditional drainage of the tank, inspection, cleaning, disinfecting, painting or repairing cracks, et cetera. So that'll be coming, but we don't anticipate we'll have to do anything. Last time that was done was about 2012 or 2014. I think both myself and Barry have mentioned the investment Cal Lake has made over the years in stationary gas generated generators at several of our key lift stations. Well, we've ended up having a couple of fluid leaks in two of the new ones. They're under warranty. They're being addressed, but it was a little disappointing that we waited so long. It was like a 3-year project to get them installed and ordered and everything. And then after about 6, 8 weeks, they started having some issues. But our staff's on top of them. Cal Lake, the water in the wastewater treatment requires certain state licenses for operation. Our water system requires a S2 and D2 license, and the wastewater treatment plant requires a C license. We've recently had 2 operational staff members take the water distribution S2 Eagle license exam. Our manager is very, very optimistic these people will pass them because he calls them some high performing of his employees. The board has continually supported Daryl's aim to have all field operators licensed in either water or sewer or both. There are pay incentives associated with achieving those licenses. And we feel having licensed operates benefits not only our manager, so he doesn't have to be there all the time or on call all the time. But also, I think it shows the public that our staff's knowledgeable and licensed to the particular, operation area that they're involved with. So thought I'd point that out. We have two. Well, actually, I'll just point one because one's in Douglas, but in city of Saugatuck, we have to repair or replace a pump in one of our main lift stations, which would be lift station 1, which is across from Peterson Mill. You see a small brick building there. Inside that building are 3 chambers that probably go down 60 feet or so into the ground. All this wastewater sewage from Douglas and Saugatuck, every drop end up at that facility. And it catches a little bit of effluent from Saugatuck Township down Riverside Drive. But so actually, obviously it's a very key infrastructure. And there's 3, like I said, 3 wells in that. One of the pumps died. We currently have a portable backup pump going at the tune of $4,500 a month, so they're not inexpensive. And we opted to pay Kennedy Industries about $46,000 to repair the pump. A new pump is closer to $100,000. It just didn't fit into the budget, so we're going to be budgeting that probably 3 years out to either replace that, and hopefully one of the other pumps won't give out. One of the pumps is relatively new, less than a year old. So he tries to replace those pumps on a rotating basis because of what a key piece of infrastructure that is. Again, at that point, the sewer flows into that lift station by gravity mains, pushed upon by various grinder or lift stations throughout the community. About 24, 26 of these lift stations. Once it gets to that plant and those big pumps kick in, it pushes it all the way out to the catalytic treatment plant. There's no interruption, no additional pumpage or anything. That's just a force main, they call it. And so it's pretty incredible engineering when you think about it. Ryan could probably speak more to the city request to provide MEU counts along our shared boundaries with Saugatuck Township. MEU is meter equivalent units, which is a basics for setting rates. And I believe it's probably to generate some cost sharing concepts with the township when replacing water lines and those mutually shared.
Yeah, along Maple Street. Yep.
Yeah. So I believe Daryl's been cooperative in working with you on getting you that.
Yep, very
information.
helpful. So,
Yeah, good. And so that kind of summarized the key points of our meeting. We had 3 actionable items. We approved a contract, a 3-year generator maintenance, preventative maintenance agreement. We were a little late on getting that one enforced, weren't we? For 3 years, we approved that. We approved the $45,950 repair to the lift station 1 pump with Kennedy Industries. And we approved a limited CCTV sanitary sewer inspection. We're televised actually sewer on some areas up on the hill. I believe we're concentrating in the Main Street, St. Joe, down towards Scott's Home, that general area. We're piggybacking that on with another project they're doing in Douglas. And so we approved a cost of not to exceed $10,000 for that study. That kind of addresses it. So anybody have any questions that
Chris?
And Mayor, thank you. Talking about the station over by Peterson Mill, did you say to repair it was 426 or 46?
46, just under $46,000. And again, that was an unbudgeted expense. And we're relatively late in our budget year. The city, the town, Cal Lakes, go through the whole one. Cal Lakes budget year is March to March, which is different than, I think all the other communities are July to July. But so we're going to get into the budget year. So in fact, we just started having some preliminary discussions on our next budget. Daryl presented us some general ideas on what he'd like to see. Again, the budget results in setting rates. Again, not to bore you, but Cal Lake has no revenue other than what we get for rates. So what we charge on your water and sewer bills is the only source of income to the authority, with the exception of once in a while you get a grant, okay? So we have to be very careful on what we plan for, what we budget for, because we don't want to keep our rates to go any more higher than we have to if we can't help it. You know, we've added on, all three communities have added on the pass-through surcharge, so to speak, for infrastructure work. Those checks are just starting to get out on a quarterly basis. I think we saw that between the three communities, it was in excess of $100,000, I think, between the three. We're kind of Johnny come lately to it, but those are pass-through things. As part of the budget, we may have to consider tapping back the communities for a service charge on that, just because of the added cost that, and it's hard to say because you want to be equitable when you say your rates, and you don't necessarily want to charge, if one community has a lot more properties to surcharge, you know, to assess or to charge for than say the other ones. I mean, you want to be equitable in how you do things. So I don't know exactly how it's going to come about. We'll probably get some input from our auditors on that. It's not too different than what the school system does. I mean, the city charges the school to collect school taxes. I'm sure it's just going to be a marginal thing. I mean, and you only can collect what your projected costs are. And so it's a study. It might even happen. It might not even happen this year, but it's something that we might have to pursue it because we don't have too many options for revenue. And so we'll just see how that works out. So did I answer your question?
Sure did.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks,
All right,
Mark.
thanks,
Kalamazoo Lake Harbor Authority.
No report.
Okay, all right. ZBA. Do you know when their next meeting is?
They did not have a meeting, their meeting was canceled. Yep.
Okay.
So
Historic District Commission.
We're meeting next Thursday, December 5th at 6 PM here at City Hall.
Great. Planning Commission, I think.
Meeting Monday, haven't had a meeting for a while, so we're long overdue and have a report next council meeting.
Great. Parks and Public Works, I know we canceled the November meeting, looking to reschedule something in December.
That's right.
Or schedule something in December, because the meeting in December is Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. So they're trying to come up with a different date. Hopefully we'll be able to do that.
Tri-community motorized trail.
We met last week based on some feedback from MDOT on some revisions, particularly around the boardwalk area. Costs are creeping up on the project. So we're working with the guys at C2AE on something called the TIP amendment, which would be basically a request for supplemental funding from MDOT. And so we'll be pursuing that to cover the increased costs associated with the project.
Great, thanks, Scott. Russ, the water system operations.
Yeah, we're scheduled next Wednesday, right, Ryan? I believe, December 4.
I think it might be the 10th, but I'll double check
10th?
that. Yeah.
We're meeting here shortly in the early December. I had the 4th for whatever reason, so.
Great. And Scott, anything new on the wildlife?
We're working on a survey for the community to get their views on deer management. Our next meeting is December 4th over in Douglas at 6 PM. We will be hearing from DNR's wildlife biologist, who's the local expert in Southwest Michigan on on deer management in kind of suburban, urban type communities. So we think that will be a valuable level setter for the entire committee and the public that attends to understand what is in the realm of possibilities for managing these deer.
Did you have many people attend the last meeting?
I would say we probably had about maybe 8 to 10 show up for the meeting. So
Cool. Okay, that takes us to approval of accounts payable, which is on page 56 of our packets.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I move to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $258,573.55.
I will second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah,
Russ?
Madam Mayor, I would just point out line item 23, Stockton Public Schools parking lot split. That is I believe it's a 50-50 split with the school for the SCA, or pardon me, for the city-owned lot next to the SCA. So,
Correct.
yeah. Busy summer.
Anything else? Okay, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean,
yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, no public hearings, no unfinished business, which takes us to new business, which is on page 58. Ryan, do you want to talk about this or you want me to?
Yeah, I'm happy to tee it up, Mayor. It's, it's kind of if the new council is now sitting here today, and annually you may have some adjustments that you need to make depending on, council members that come on and come off. And so these are these boards currently have vacancies that have traditionally had council members on them. So I want to get some folks appointed to keep doing the work. So.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Motion to appoint Lauren Stanton to the Parks and Public Works Committee, appoint Joe Clark to the Water and Sewer Systems Operations Contract Advisory Committee, reappoint Scott Dean to the Blue Star Trail Committee, and appoint Chris Peterson to the Harbor Authority.
Second?
any discussion, questions? All right. Is this a roll call?
Anderson.
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. That takes us to the second public comment period. This can be on anything. We'll start with Mr. Leonardi.
Joe Leonardi, 712 Allegan Street. I think this next weekend is going to be our Christmas parade. I'd like to avoid what we had happened last year when someone couldn't control themselves, got a little drunk, got a little confrontational with the local police. And I believe I heard those words, "Do you know who I am?" Yeah, I know who you are. All right, this isn't Mardi Gras. You're gonna have families, you're gonna have kids there. Let's try to control ourselves. Another issue is I'm sure some of you will be going for a strategy session with Epic. And I want everyone to know that it is this holiday season here. If any of you get jammed up, I'm more than happy to bake you a cake with a file in it so you can get out. And remember, at a past meeting, I suggested that when you lay down with dogs, you can get fleas. I'm not going to mention any names, but I did see a former city council member walking down the street scratching. So I think maybe you would all keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Anyone else in the room? Anyone online? All right. That takes us to council comments. Joe, would you like to start?
Sure, nothing material. First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And I want to welcome repeat council member Peterson. Thank you for your service. Lights in town look great. I think we've heard it a couple of times. Absolutely beautiful. It sets our town apart. So for all of those that helped get them in, certainly have my thanks. Want to welcome Austin to the planning committee. Looking forward to working with you. I think he's online. And family. Oh, I want to just do a quick call out to our first responders. My sister got very sick, lives next door to me. it was a serious situation. They were there instantly. They got out of the hospital in record time. And it was really impressive to watch them in action and brought it home when you see somebody, you know, you're very close to get sick. So I was hoping he'd pass on my thanks to the fire department, but I'll reach out to them separately, and that's all I have.
Great. Gregory?
Well, you said a couple things I wanted to say already, and that is happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope everybody has a nice weekend and everybody has fun sitting at the table and stay away from politics at the table. Also, looking forward to the tree lighting coming up at the Wicks Park. Just a reminder, at Wicks Park, we'll all be gathering around 5:30. The official lighting has been changed to 6 o'clock because we heard Santa is showing up. So they have changed the time. We'll be counting down at 6 o'clock, but kids can come early and visit with Santa. And of course, cookies and hot chocolate by Mill Pond Realty will be there representing. And hope everybody has a great holiday. And I do want to remind everybody too, that the Saugatuck Christmas Carol is coming up. It's December 13th, 14th, 15th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. It's the 38th year that all little volunteers and almost everybody in town or their family has been in this play over the years. So I encourage everybody to go. You can purchase tickets at Saugatuck Christmas Carol at ludus.com. Of course, you can always reach out to any of us on Facebook. You'll see us all talking about it, whatever Facebook page that you're on.
Would like to recognize and welcome Chris Peterson back to the council. Welcome, Chris. We'd also like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We are all very blessed to live in this community. I'm very grateful for this community, and I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Nice. Welcome Austin Marinow to the Planning Commission. Looking forward to having him be a part of planning. Welcome back, Chris. We've worked together before, so it's nice to have you back. And I'm really looking forward to being on the Parks and Public Works Committee. It is a passion of mine, and I look forward to being a part of that group because I feel like they're the kind of folks that roll their sleeves up and really get to work on things. So I look forward to being a part of that. Happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to the tree lighting ceremony. So it's going to be a lot of fun as always, and I hope Russ, you'll be there to make sure the light on the top of Mount Baldhead goes off without a hitch at the same time.
I was told it was an elf that does that.
Yeah,
so maybe
I know
there's,
you are in touch with the elves.
We're all
so-
adults here, so keep that quiet with
The
the
elves
kids.
are en route, so, and the star was tested the other day, so we're all good to go. So, do want to welcome Chris to the council. It's good to have you here. And also to welcome to Austin to the Planning Commission. I do have some comments to make, so please bear with me. On Tuesday, November 12th, I had 3 conversations with current Mayor Holly Anderson regarding a range of city-related issues. I'd like to share some highlights. First phone call purpose was to discuss the process to nominate and elect a new mayor and mayor pro tem, discuss current council interactions and ways to better work together, and discuss my repeated requests to form a study committee to review the current city ethics policy, which hasn't been updated since 2008. I shared a couple of recent events that I think just continue to speak to our need to have this updated. One was certain city council candidates were funded by a local nonprofit, which is currently under investigation for possible Michigan Campaign Finance Act violations, and an appointed city official bullying and harassing a city council member on social media. We had a good conversation, but during that conversation, the mayor used several expletives during the call, which culminated in an FU to me, at which point I said, "Goodbye, Holly," and hung up. Holly called me shortly afterwards and left a voicemail apologizing for her behavior. I called her back to continue the call. At that point, during the call, Holly told me that she had seen or heard about a tax issue that I had with the city of Grand Rapids, and that some people were saying that I shouldn't be serving on council because of it. I asked her what the issue was or is. She said that the information could be a problem for me and mentioned that she had information about another council member as well. I asked why she was doing this and if I was under investigation and why. That's a paraphrase. It's not a quote. It's a paraphrase of the conversation, which I took contemporaneous notes afterwards so I could remember what was said. When we got to last council meeting on the Tuesday, the 12th, I asked at the time Councilmember Anderson if I could speak with her in person after the meeting because of the concern I had with the comments regarding this tax issue. When we met in person, I further discussed Holly's accusation that there was a personal tax issue involving me, with the city of Grand Rapids and that some people are saying makes me unfit for serving on city council. I asked her for the evidence of the issue and asked her who gave her the information. She said that she found the information online and would send me the link. She also insisted twice when I asked her that the information was not given to her and that she found it independently online. I asked her, what is the relevance of this? Let's suppose there actually was an issue. What does this have to do with me serving on city council? We finished the meeting by saying we're going to work together going forward. Holly asked that we work together going forward, and I asked that I shake her hand, which I did on the way out the door. The following morning at 8:47, I received an email from at now Mayor Anderson that said to me, Russ, here is the site to search court records. It is www.michigancourtrecords.us/criminalcourtrecords/find. At 4:12 that same day, the following day, I said, Holly, this is an email from me to Mayor Anderson. Holly, this isn't a game. Send me the hard copy of what you mentioned yesterday regarding a possible tax issue by 10 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, November 14th. At 9:46 on Thursday, November 14th, I received an email from Mayor Anderson. Russ, I don't view this as a game. I take seriously public accusations of unlawfulness and ethics violations that have no basis in fact or evidence, especially when they are made by a sitting member of city council who rightly stresses the importance of ethical behavior. I will take you at your word that the court report I found by doing a Google search is erroneous. I never once said that the court report was erroneous. Those are my comments. Back to the email that was sent to me. You can find the report I referenced using the link I provided earlier. You also could likely find it by searching Michigan court records under your name. You will then have all the information you need to have the public records corrected. I have no intention of sharing this information with others or making it public. Unlike others in the community who apparently take delight in public shaming, for example, posting the audio recordings of the state police conversations with Lauren, Scott, and Helen regarding petition signatures. My reason for sharing the information with you was to point out your hypocrisy. Even with the knowledge that the court record is erroneous, I find it galling and hypocritical that you claim to be a champion of city staff while publicly accusing them of nefarious behavior with zero evidence. I wish you would either produce facts to back that claim or apologize to Ryan and Sarah. We are all flawed human beings, as evidenced by my losing my temper with you on Tuesday. I own that and apologize for it. I pledge to treat you fairly. I've already committed to you to get dates for workshops to discuss our ethics policy and plan for the city manager's evaluation and goal setting. But you can count on me to push back on evidence and fact-free criminal or ethics claims you make against city staff and council members. You and I have been able to have productive discussions in the past, and I'm certain we are capable of having a productive working relationship in council if we choose to. That is my desire and choice. I responded to that email at 2:30 on Thursday, November 14th with, hi, Holly, acknowledging receipt of your email. I will respond in due time. So you're probably all wondering what is this court report? So I'm sure everyone's wondering what Mayor Anderson discovered when she entered my name and city into the Michigan Court Records website and hit submit. What she found, and is accessible to anyone who wishes to go to the site, is that I had an income tax violation with the city of Grand Rapids in 2003. In 2006, this case was dismissed with what's called a nola prosequi. This is a legal expression indicating that the prosecution decided to cease further proceedings or was unwilling to continue the prosecution. It denotes a voluntary dismissal of a criminal case by the prosecution before a trial or verdict. The 61st District Court was contacted, and I've been told that there is no public record of the case available. The clerk suggested that the case may have never been served to me and was probably dismissed due to de minimis, which means a small amount, payment was made, or the case was outright dismissed. A hard copy of the case record has been requested, and I'm awaiting the completion of that request. What to make of all this? Well, I don't think or hope that Mayor Anderson intended to intimidate me. Her actions suggest that she has ample time to search for irrelevant and non-existent information and believes it's acceptable behavior to imply that I am unfit for office based on what she found. Although her actions may not be illegal, her conduct in this situation is at the very least unbecoming of her position. This will be my final statement on this matter, which I regard as a personal issue unrelated to my duties and service to the city. So how can we learn and become better from these events? As I've proposed repeatedly over the past 18 plus months, a City of Sagatuck Ethics Policy Study Committee should be formed to review the current ethics ordinance and code of conduct. I do not understand why this is so controversial. The current city policy, last updated in 2008, no longer reflects contemporary standards and practices. We've updated our cars, we've updated our computers and appliances in the past 16 years. Why shouldn't we update this? It should be noted that the city attorney was asked to review the ethics policy, which it found to be compliant with state laws. However, that review did not ask for input from city employees, elected officials, appointed officials, or the general public. This is a crucial step in ensuring our governance remains ethical, transparent, and in line with modern expectations. This should be done in consultation with a knowledgeable municipal attorney and involve citizens with municipal experience, people with a legal background, and people with broad experience in the community. It is helpful to include at least one elected official who serves on this body and who is interested in the undertaking. This person may assist in formulating the ethics policy and also by endorsing and presenting the ordinance to the city council for adoption. There's several things that I think that the city council should look at in regards to this ethics policy review. There's some examples which I shared at a previous meeting in response to a question that was asked by a fellow council member, that there's been instances, and these are specific situations, where an appointed official of the city verbally assaulted a member of the public after a public city council meeting. That person chose not to make a report of that because of fear of retribution. A former sitting city council member was convicted of violating state election law. The issue was not addressed by the council and/or the council member held accountable. The current mayor used public available information to vaguely or ambiguously intimidate a sitting council member. And there were accusations that were made previously regarding the previous city manager's job performance and personal issues which were not addressed by council leadership. So what needs to be updated, among other things? Electronic communications, for example, limiting the use of messaging apps to discuss city business, for example, WhatsApp and Signal. We should also be looking at our policy to say that we need to be updated for ethics and environmental, social, and governance in a modern age. That's very typical for what many companies do these days when it regards to updating their policies. Social media guidelines are also needed to outline how employees, elected officials, and appointed officials should use social media to represent the city. I urge my fellow council members to respect our constituents enough to take action and join me advocating for an ethics update and a quick to support this and join me in advocating for a swift implementation. Together, we can uphold the integrity of our city's administration and foster a culture of accountability and trust. I'll finish by saying it's ironic that this situation occurred because of my repeated attempts to get this council to formally agree to update its current ethics policy. Thank you.
I think it's unfortunate we find ourselves in this position at all. And I look at some of the past minutes about why we haven't been able to, why there hasn't been an effort to get the ethics policy out there so that we could have these kinds of discussions and not have to do something that shows such division between the city council as we're all trying to work together through these past horrible political times. So I stand with Russ. Let's get this ethics policy done so that we don't have situations like this where there's really no ability to go back and get a response. Beyond that, it's an honor to be here. And I look forward to working with my peers on the city council. I love the tree lighting, but we'll be in Chicago. But it's a wonderful time to live here in Saugatuck, and happy Thanksgiving.
Great. Well, I will share my Thanksgiving wishes to everyone. I think we can just leave the discussion as it is with, I could quibble with how Russ characterized what I said, but I just don't think it's worth it we'll just move on. So everyone have a great break. Go Lions, and see you all.
A motion to.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.